everybody, your host with the most on the Coalition of Automotive Management Professionals. It's a December show. We do one every month. Good to have you here, keeping an eyeball on us, Facebook and YouTube and a whole bunch of different places. I'd like to welcome my great coaches panel, my friends, the experts. Jennifer Filson's here, Rockstar Marketing at rock-star-marketing.com. Dave Shadeen is here, coach and mentor, CompuTrek Automotive Solutions at CompuTrekSystems.com. Trek with a K, Trek. And Malin Newton's here, ESI, the Educational Seminars Institute company, the author of Joy, the Joy of Hiring, ESISeminars.com. Hi, Malin.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Well, we've been doing this for years now, where we get together and I have so much fun hanging out with the coaches, Dave.
I love this panel. I love the entrepreneurial things that come out of these sessions. It's like all of our experiences, each individual, come together, and now we have more, better, different. And I love that creative process of, oh, that triggered this, that triggered that. Oh, you know what? And then now there's something new. And that's why I love the podcast, because there's a freshness to them. And then out of all of our experiences, it invariably almost the last couple of years, Carm, doing shows with you, is that you'll have an epiphany that we didn't even see. You'll have an analogy that will come up. You know, we're talking about cars, and next thing you know, you're talking about veterinarian, you know? And so it's like, there's just, I love that Rubik's Cube side of life, where we get to see more sides of color. Let's put it that way.
Well, I am so motivated. I love what I do. I hope it shows.
It does.
And I can't stop but being the quintessential listener when I'm hosting and I'm trying to facilitate the discussion. Just yesterday, we did this great episode on AI. I have never done one as in-depth as I've done on AI on the podcast, and you'll see it coming out sometime, I think, in early January. And I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent, but I'm listening to all of this and what AI is used for and how we rely on it, and we shouldn't as much as we do. And here was what my takeaway was: put you into AI. Put you in it. My quote was, put you in it. So no matter what AI comes back, you've got to look at that, read it aloud, and say, is that me? And if it's not, you've got to put you in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my takeaway from yesterday. Those profound brain.
That's a good word.
I like that. Come off. Put you in it. Mm-hmm. So let's use it, and let's figure out how to maybe reply to a bad review, and give me some really nice, sexy $10 words. But if you don't say them, and that's not a reflection of your company, right, you got to put you in it.
Well, and I personally think that's part of our problem in our industry, is we are so focused on fixing cars that we're looking for the quick and easy fix for, say, answering that review. So we blurt out something onto AI, and we just post what's there, and it's not us. You know, as an author, it's really hard to write a book and have it be in your voice, be your personality. And it's the same thing with reviews. You read some of these reviews and it's like, this isn't a human. There's no emotion there. And it's the problem of taking the easy road out. A lot of people are looking for the easy way.
Well, we do handle a lot of reviews for our clients, good or bad. And yeah, we do a blend of making sure that the voice is accurately reflected in the review. But truly, as long as you are polite, kind, especially when it's a bad review, right? And you also have the keywords in there, auto repair, the vehicle that they worked on, etc. It's just so good for SEO. So people love it when you respond to them because they feel validated.
All right. Thanks for this little side trip. In the green room, we were just chatting before we went live, and Maitland was talking. Malin.
Let me help you.
Malin was talking about parts and about some of the quality issues that he continues to hear in the industry. And then all I could chime in before we went live was the whole parts distribution channel has a lot of responsibilities that if a part is getting out to the field and it has been already installed, the review of every new return that comes back. But frankly, if an individual shop owner is returning a part that's been installed, has silicone on it, a gasket on it, it looks like it's got grease everywhere, you gotta tell your driver who's taking that part back, "Look, it's brand new. Can you help me out? It was the wrong one. We were halfway through. There was a bolt wrong, something. We found that." And if not, the parts store needs to literally open up every new return and say, "Is this new? Can I resell it as new?" And then decide what to do with it. So I
And
think
I
part of the whole problem is having good SOPs, good systems.
and part of the problem is also is they're suffering the same thing everybody in the world is quality employees, because
Right.
a lot of parts are being delivered by Lyft and Uber and DoorDash and contract drivers, and they don't know a good part from a bad part. And they're not taught. They're taught to drop the part off. They don't look at the box. So
Right.
it's not necessarily the parts issue. It's the way the world is now issue. And the shop doesn't have good process and procedures. You're right. And the shop owner's trying to get something over sometimes on the parts store by not telling them.
Yeah.
Hoping nobody will notice.
Yeah, my friend Chris Cotton, who has a podcast on the Aftermarket Radio Network, did a show this week on parts, and how important it is that we have a quality relationship with our supplier, and they know the power and the impact that alleged defectives, that core returns have on the profit and the bottom line of the shop, and what the responsibilities are both ways. I'm going to set these over here. These are new returns. I need a credit for that. And when you pick them up, this is what I expect. I expect a credit in 24 hours. All of that stuff is important to the profitability of a professional shop and of the relationship.
I always want to develop a good relationship. So I don't yell and scream at the parts guy who answers the phone. If I have a problem, I take it to the manager of the store.
Right.
And I don't alienate the people who are answering the phone, and can be as simple as when you call up and you're talking to them and they go, "Hang on, let me get a pen and paper." Well, if you're in the parts counter, that should be embedded in your hand anyway. It's the conversation. Exactly. It's the conversation I have with the manager.
I think for me, as I look at that, we had a policy, a parts ordering, receiving policy, a signature at the bottom. It was a commitment. So they understood the process. And one of the things I put in place was you're opening up a box, you're grease-free hands. Because if it's the wrong one, it's going back. And and in my shop, it was, if you have a new part, grease torn box coming apart because they're ripping and tearing in that, if I can't return that part, you're responsible for paying the cost of that part.
Ooh.
And it was a little bit more of it's just that professionalism. I said, it's not about being ornery, it's about being professional. And I want you a professional in all aspects of it. And I want a commitment for that. I want your signature on it as well. But it is the same thing. And I also learned that probably the best, and this is like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, the best ensuring accurate parts delivery cost me about $15-20 a month. I bought donuts for the parts people, and hey, take these back to the parts guys. Or I stop by on a road test and take them donuts, and oh my gosh, it's amazing how sugar molecules will move you to the front of the line.
It's amazing what please and thank you
exactly
will do to move you to the front of the line.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about SOPs for sure. When we are creating SOPs for our clients, we want to make sure that, yes, of course, the service advisors have their SOPs, the technicians have their SOPs, but it's really important to include vendors in those SOPs because it will make communication better. And you're right. If you can incorporate the wow factor into the SOPs, so then that way everyone loves on you, right? The vendors love you. They want to bend over backwards to help you. The clients love you because they're getting such consistent, persistent, wonderful service every single time. SOPs are just fantastic. And if you weave the story of the business into your SOPs so people understand exactly what you represent, what you stand for, what makes you unique, and what is your why, it's really going to make everything smoother for you.
Yeah.
And for the listeners who are new, SOP is standard operating procedure.
Thank you.
And that, but one of the things I did as well with parts is, and we talked about, parts and labor claims and the rest of that. Labor claims, and this is my own junk, labor claims would emotionally wind me up because it's 6-9 months and I still haven't got paid on that puppy from the vendor. And so I did this. I went to my vendors and I said, listen, I will never turn in a labor claim from here on out. What I want is the end of the month. I want a 2% credit off of my statement. I want a new part if it's a warranty part, but I will never put a labor claim. And then what I did is I took, and I just used a high number for me. I used $20,000 a year, divided it by my RO count, divided by my hours per reparator. And oh my gosh, I had to raise my labor rate by $3.75. And I have now built in $20,000 a year to cover warranty labor claims. I just take care of it, get the part back, and I don't care because I've already got it paid for.
So many suppliers today are handling that in a very quick turnaround fashion, as long as they follow it. A lot of the claims are going online. And so I think the suppliers realized they needed to get a really good handle on this. And at the same time as they expected their service professional to play games with them, play the game with them to get this thing, we need all the right information. We need it in the proper timeline. We will pay this thing within, the funds go in like 48, maybe within a week. And so the supplier said, we're going to help you. We're going to make this right. We're going to make it better. I got to have you do this to make it work. And again, please stop and remember this. Every single supplier knows what your new return, your defective rate, and your labor rate returns are. They know those percentages. And you need a favor, they may just look at those numbers to see how many times does the part go out? Does it really stick? Oh my God, the new return rate's 35%. My best customers is only 2.5%. What's going on? Borrow it from Peter and pay it off to Paul and send Paul's part back. It's just wrong. It's so unprofessional. Don't get me up on my soapbox.
Too late. Too late. I think you got some snow on your head there from being so high up on your soapbox. Snowing on you.
The snow, Malin. If I didn't consider you a very good friend, I'd be pissed.
I'll try harder.
well, don't they call brain matter gray matter, right?
True.
So evidently, Carmen and I are leaking.
Oh man, Dave!
I told you I was going to make your eyes roll.
Dave, let's talk about KPIs and the whole wow factor. I've heard you talk about this.
So, monitoring, measuring KPIs. This is before the plethora of Google 5-star reviews. So 5-star reviews is a good way. It's not taking the place of what I consider the number one KPI, which still has more power than a 5-star review, and that's word of mouth referrals. So here's a KPI number. This is a benchmark I discovered in a dealership world that I took to my shop and now coach in the last 18 years on it. Most shops have an attrition rate, which means we need new cars, new vehicles, customers coming in the door. Depending on your business model, where you're located, it's anywhere from 20 to 30%. If you're in a college town and next to a military base, you're going to need a whole lot more because you just got every 2 to 3 years, you got high turnover there. But in most shops, you're say 25%. So if I have a car count, my monthly car count is, I'm going to use my calculator because I've had too many maths today. So 200 times 25%, 200 times 25% is 50. I need 50 new customers on average each month to stay ahead of attrition rate. Here's the wow factor KPI number. 70% of your new customers coming in the door should be from word of mouth marketing. So times 70%, that means 35 new customers a month should be from word of mouth marketing. And how do I know they're from that? Because my advisors are my frontline marketeers, and they're the ones asking in every visit, every new customer, hey, Mr. Jones, what were all the ways you heard about us? Not how did you hear about us? I'll get one marketing feedback. What were all the ways you heard about us? Well, you know, Bill told me about you. Then I went and looked up at your website and I looked at your reviews. Now, what kind of a person do I have in front of me? They did research. I have an analytical person. I know how to speak to them based on one simple question. And so of that, what were the ways you heard about it? But once it's word of mouth, it lets me know I so wowed my customers when they left in the active delivery process. They were so wowed when I launched them in the community. They're spreading the gospel of my shop. And if I didn't get that feedback, word of mouth marketing, and I'll give you another line that tees it up. If I wasn't at that factor, it was timeout, guys. We hit 60%. We're down. We got to up. We're off our game. We laugh, jovial. I had little indicators like when a customer came through the door, it was mandated within 30 seconds. There's a smile on that customer's face. I don't care how ornery, negative, upset, whatever. I wanted a smile on that face. And on a good day, we got to laugh in 60 seconds. But I wanted that wow factor with that customer. And the only way I could really determine that wow factor as a good KPI number was that 70% of new customers should be from word of mouth marketing.
And something you got to take in consideration also is that if I need to replace 50 customers, I like to call them clients, long-term people, then I might need 150 people, customers, to come through my door to keep 50 as clients. Because not everybody's going to want the level of service we provide. Not everybody's going to want our location. Not everybody's going to like our pricing. So when you think about that, it's not just about getting 50 new customers through your door. You have to get 50 people who become clients who are going to come back multiple times in a year with multiple cars. And we forget that.
Yeah.
What I've found, if marketing is set up right, and Jennifer does this a great job for shops, when you have your message correct and you know your avatar customer, and gosh, you guys, if you get a chance to connect with Jennifer on finding your avatar customer, she does a great job of that because she gets to know your story and not the story you think you should tell, your real story. She gets to the bottom of that. And that I did this in my shop. In fact, I was just training an advisor in Spokane here yesterday on this in what's called active delivery, which means you're thinking about it. You're active in the delivery of today's repair. There is a best practice process. I'm not going to see this customer from 3 to 6 months potentially. I'm going to launch them in the community. How do I want to launch them? I'm going to be strategic, intentional about what that looks like. And here's a phrase that is directly impacting word of mouth. And when I first started using it, I didn't realize that it is the phrase that tees up a high amount of word of mouth marketing. In active delivery, I've structured my professional repair order in such a way, it's got, structured diag, the repair, the PM that goes with that, the conclusion of that, then the next elements. And so I started using, okay, Mr. Jones, for the diagnostic, these are all the things we did in the diagnostic process. These are all the things we did in replacing the mass airflow sensor, the O2 sensor, or whatever it was. These are all the things we did in the decarbon service. These are all the things we did in the ECM relearn and that. And then when the oil change, we don't just do an oil change. That's too simplistic. Everybody does them. This is our professional. These are all things we do on our oil change. Every visit, every time. I don't care if they had 50 oil changes with me. I'm giving them these are all the things we did. These are all the things we did. These are all the things we did. At the end of it, you know what they say? Wow, you guys sure did a lot. Most shops are doing it. They're just not putting it out there in an audible concept. The customer gets it. When they hear that repeated over and over and over again, they finally get the value of what they purchased. When you call somebody and get an authorization, you've said enough value words and reasonings to get an authorization, but they didn't buy it yet. How do we know that? Because money didn't exchange hands yet. They haven't bought it yet. They buy it in active delivery. And when you tee up, these are all the things we did, these are all the things we did, it's amazing how much value they see. So here's what I did. Here's where I connected the dots. Okay, what I wanted to know, value words and reasonings were super important to me in my shop. What if I took that out, what would it impact? So for about 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month, I took out saying, these are all the things we did. These are all the things we did. These are all the things we did. Within 2 to 3 weeks, my word of mouth marketing KPI, it went from like 72, 73% down to like 50%. I mean, it was that fast. I put it back in place, and within it took about 2 months of putting it back in place, it came back up over 70. And I go, okay, was that a fluke deal? I want to justify this. So I did it again in about 6-9 months. I did it again, and the same results happened. So in the after delivery, when you say these are all things we did, these are all things we did, these are all things we did, not rapid fire like I just gave it, but different versions of that, that will drive your KPI number to that 70% or better. Track that.
And it's also important to not just verbalize that. It has to be in writing.
Yes.
Because that repair order is going to somebody else. It's going to the spouse, the next door neighbor, the second cousin's brother who used to work on cars. And I tell service writers, you should write your labor operations, your descriptions, your explanations as if you're getting paid by the word. Because content is everything. And if somebody looks at that and it says fix the car and it's $3,000, there's zero value.
Yeah.
But if the repair order is 4 pages long and it's $3,000, it's the perception that you did a lot of work, even if they don't understand the work you did. So it's delivering the car is very, very, very important. And
let's go back, Malin, let's go back to the medical industry, which we sometimes so align ourselves with, and to think about if we could only see the behind the scenes documentation on an operation or any kind of procedure that you had.
Man.
It is the nurses, everybody probably has to write, we used this, we did that, this happened, we had this much blood, these are the readings at this particular point. I'll bet you there's hundreds of pages, even if it's a simple half-hour procedure, cover thy ass, number one. And but if we could get that from behind the scenes to the front of the scenes. And I was at a conference in Canada, and a shop owner came up and said, in order to get the right descriptive wording for our clients, we have gone to AI and explained to them what we were doing. And we actually pulled some really good standard stuff up that we can copy, cut, and paste and put it in. But anything specific, we wrote it up in pretty heavy detail. And these are top shop people.
So we have a product we sell called Canned Jobs. There are 800 canned jobs already formulated, already the words, and they're built in such a way that the advisor, instead of R&R water pump and relying on the labor time guide, minimal words, $500, $800, whatever it was, it's now value, words, and reasonings. And a canned job, whether you use AI, use ours, or whatever, have your generic water pump job set with high value words and reasonings, because in my shop it was mandated professionalism. You write a professional story. It does not get released to the customer without that, which means you could take 2 to 3 minutes or 5 minutes on each labor line. You got 5 labor lines, you got 15, 20 minutes of typing. I wanted to eliminate that, so I systemized my value words and reasons by putting them in canned jobs. The other thing canned jobs do for you, and Carmen, we talked about doing a show on canned jobs, but canned jobs are trigger points. So if I get somebody the hospitality industry and I bring them in as an advisor, I need to have them speak automobileese in a short amount of time. The canned jobs are structured there. They don't know how a water pump works, but they got a good description of it. And the other thing I put in there is one of the number 2 or 3 constraints in a shop is memory. Going 100 miles an hour, especially those of us with ADD, HD. I don't know if that's high definition, but dyslexia and all of that. We're going 100 miles an hour. We forget naturally. And so having built-in triggers. So when you do a water pump or a wet valley intake or whatever, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, make sure you do this. These are the trigger points. Ask about this, ask about that. And what I found is those built-in triggers sell 10 to 15% more of the legitimate things. The number one part that's interrupted in a shop, whoops, I forgot to order that part. Where can I have my system trigger that part to me to do that?
Well, and one of the things that you have to remember also, and this is because I live in a litigated state, is that everything you write on that repair order is going to be your defense in court.
Yep.
And if the judge, who has no car repair knowledge, doesn't understand it, you're losing.
Mm.
And see, that's part of our problem is acronyms,
Yes.
phraseology. It needs to be understandable to the layperson. You know, I talk about this when I was in the hospital, the doctor's speaking to me in Latin. I don't know Latin, don't want to know Latin, but he's trying to explain to me what's going on in a language I don't understand. You have to think about that at your service counter.
Jen, I want to ask you, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And that's part of our problem because we get technical with them. They don't need to know how the alternator works. They need to know what it did and why it doesn't do it anymore. Yeah.
Great point, Jen. With all the things that Dave and Malin are saying about the power and the quality of the final invoice, and how important it is to really be clear and substantial. As a marketing expert, you can talk all about the front side, what we're doing to bring people in, what we're doing to have a great brand image. Do you ever talk about how that final process affects everything else that Rockstar Marketing did up over here?
Oh yeah, no doubt. It all just it's the big picture, right? Sometimes we just get so segmented, but really, what's the overall goal? The overall goal is to have incredible services that attract a tribe of fans, right? So you have to implement all of these different things, and everything that you're saying is valid. But one thing that we're kind of forgetting is, and Carm and I did this in a previous discussion, the PASTA method. And that is empowering your team to also make really great decisions. So let me give a real quick bite-sized breakdown of what PASTA method is. PASTA is praise your employees, ask them for their input, share information with them so they are fully informed, trust them to do the right thing, and then allow them to act upon those ideas. And so when you implement the PASTA method, praise, ask, share, trust, and allow, you're going to give them ownership of their roles. And so they're going to be able to have that wow factor for the customers. They're going to better communicate with the vendors and return parts. They're going to come up with ideas that maybe the owner did not come up with and say, hey, I've got this idea for a solution of the things that Dave and Malin were talking about. What if we tried this? And, as owners, sometimes we get in our own way. We think that we are the ones with the best ideas. But truly, when you implement praise, ask, share, trust, allow with your employees, it gives them freedom to come up with solutions to the problems. That's what I meant to say. And I'll tell you guys, once I got out of my own way and I realized how creative and talented and better at solving certain problems than I am, that my team was able to do, things have just been amazing. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but we've had a record-breaking year with happier customers and more services because I implemented that. So if we're seeing that at Rockstar Marketing, what can that do for your shop?
And we have to remember that different isn't wrong.
Correct.
Right.
It's different.
Right.
As
Great
I hear
word.
this all the time. Oh, that's the wrong way to do it. Why? Because it's different. And we have to understand that. We're not doing anything today the same way we did even 3 years ago.
Right.
And we have to keep an open mind at this. And that's part of our industry, our whole industry's struggles, is we're still trying to do things the way Dad did it or Grandpa did it. And
with all the
today's
AI
world.
and technology and all the different things that are coming online, oh, honey, we don't have to do it the old-fashioned way, because this AI and all the cool stuff that's coming out is making us more efficient. And that's going to be super important as we continue to recruit employees, yes? Because there's a shortage of really good, solid employees. And when you implement the PASTA method and you use AI to its fullest, and it's going to be so exciting the next few years, don't you think?
Absolutely. And I think if the introduction of AI, there's a lot of fear around that. But I think, Carm, what you said, if we can just inject yourself in your AI, that it's going to bring that consistency to it. Whereas, well, this we did AI, this we didn't. If you're going to do it, do it. And what happens is like you have somebody like Jennifer that speaks into life into a shop, attracts the avatar perfect customer. They spend marketing thousands and thousands of marketing dollars to only have it killed on the counter by a ho-hum level 5 experience with that advisor. If your advisors aren't on the entrepreneurial concierge service level, you got to get them there. This is no good old boy automotive. Those days are pretty much gone. This is a professional industry. And if we want to attract professional people, from the look of our parking lot to our uniforms to everything we do, are we professional? And in that unprofessionalism, have we killed the $5,000-6,000 a month we spent on marketing is thrown out the door because it died at the counter?
Well, a lot of that marketing money is thrown out the door because we didn't even answer the phone properly. It's as simple as that. What? Yep. You're bothering me.
Yeah.
I can't look at your car for 6 months.
Right.
So, you know, everything needs to be thought about. And to be honest with you, we need to stop fixing cars and we need to become business owners.
Yeah.
We need to become business owners and think about the business, not about fixing that car.
Yeah.
And there's way too many people that's all they're concerned with, fix the car.
Yeah. Malin, wasn't it you who said different isn't wrong? It was you, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I love that. Wrote that down. And then I wrote right next to it two words, comfort zone.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And if you, and I couldn't help but think of my declaration that I've been going around the country doing a keynote on the rise of the mechanical and technology specialist, this declaration of this huge language shift. Now, it's just not those titles that I am proposing get changed, but there's another 20 of them in there and different kind of job titles and what we call, labor should be called service and all that stuff, right? And when I talk to people about this, we love this, but I mean, when I say those words, it takes so much time off of my lips, and I have to say technology specialist instead of my tech. And I said, can you just dial the record player down just a touche to get this thing done right? Because it's not about you and us internally, although it's a great lift to have a new title and a new role in the business, but it's the outside perception coming in. It's what we tell our client that we do and what we have. I got a tire guy or tire specialist, my alignment guy. No, my alignment specialist, my air conditioning specialist. What about my mechanical or technology specialist? What about all these people that we work so hard to lift their level of knowledge, the tools we give them? Why would we say, well, it's just not comfortable for us? And that's where one of these, has to happen. And if you believe any one of the coaches, any of the experts that work with and for you, if you believe in what they're telling you, but you can't sell it, different isn't wrong, and get out of your comfort zone, sell it, implement it. And what I say, I have an implementation guide in here, and step number 6 is start a swear jar. If you want to make it happen,
big enough.
Yeah, well, maybe for you,
55-gallon drum.
Yeah, fine. But every time someone catches somebody not in the zone, in the comfort zone of where we're headed and why we're headed, the why is the big part of this thing. Why should we go to this new level of professionalism? And it just doesn't matter about what I'm talking about. It's everything that the coaches are teaching our people. That I could do that. I'm going to do that.
Part of this is, and Dave brought it up, is the person who owns the shop doesn't demonstrate professionalism.
Yeah.
And I'm painting a broad brush here. Okay.
So, yes, you are. Yeah.
Right. I'm speaking in general terms. I actually wrote a class called Professionalism in the Automotive Repair World. Right. It's been in my catalog for 4 years. I've never given it.
Oh,
But
wow.
you've offered it.
Nobody wants it because
Nobody-
everybody assumes it.
Are they afraid that they're going to look in the mirror and they're not going to like what they see?
I can guess that. But
You-
when I go to things like skills with the kids, the young people, and they're coming to their events dressed in blazers and polished shoes, and they have a dress code, and we want to hire these people and bring them into our shops, and then we don't have a dress code. We don't have a minimum standard of appearance, and we don't have a minimum standard for the way the shop looks. It's something that we all need to address, but the comfort zone, I don't have time for that. I'm too busy fixing cars.
You know, the phrase that came to mind is we're looking for avatar customer. Have we created our avatar zone? Have we created the avatar of every zone, whether it's professionalism, whether it's fixed right the first time, whether it's profitability? You know, one of the things that I say language this way, because I drive a lot of GP dollars and percent. And people say, Dave, it seems like it's so weighted with GP dollars and percent. And I say, do you know why that is? Because here's the deal. When you're in scarcity and you're not profitable, you're approaching your customer with fear.
Mm-hmm.
The most moral, ethical, professional thing you can do for your customers is to be profitable. And when you really know how to set up your business, and especially going to the labor rate and the labor rate calculators, you put $25,000 of warranty into there. It's a no question asked warranty. As long as you're sweeping it aside. I got shops that do that, and I go, Dave, I don't have money to take care of all these warranties. Well, did you sweep? Did you have the discipline of sweep? You set that aside. You know that $3.37 or whatever that is in your model, at the end of the month, you sweep that aside, and that's in your holding account. It's not fictitiously in your QuickBooks that way. You physically moved it to another account. It's untouchable at that point.
Yeah, perfect. I love that. Before I lose this thought in my mind, because of that snow cap on my head, Malin, was it you, Malin, teasing me? Maybe it was.
No, that was Dave.
It's right. It was David.
No,
Okay.
mine was Tees 2.0. Malin had Tees 1.0.
I blame Malin for all this stuff all the time. I don't know why. Malin, I have a great idea to change the name of your class. This the professionalism thing. You need to change the title to Professionalism, the Next Step.
There you go.
And let people want to know, what is that? Because I think I'm already professional. And then you go in, and in the first 10 minutes, you explain how they're not, and you own the class. Because they're here to think about tomorrow, and where can I go with this professionalism that I have? And you explain to them that they're not.
I will change that and see if anybody picks that class.
I'll sign up.
A/B test, baby.
So one of the things that I think we need to also consider is, and Dave, you actually used it. I call it a duh statement. Too many repair shops are saying, we fix cars right. Duh, that's what we're supposed to do. We use quality parts. Duh. Because nobody says, Jennifer, do you have any advertising that says we use crappy parts?
No.
We have qualified technicians. I hire dumbasses.
It is the low bar that we're trying to meet. That's not what we want to do. If you want to be one of the top 10% shops, you need to think above the bare basics.
Right. And we have to put thought into this. And again, it goes back to getting out of our comfort zone and our rut. Because so many people, they just go to work and do the same thing they did yesterday. You know, that definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if I may, let's talk about the future a little bit. Okay. I just spent yesterday in a 2.5-hour seminar about what is the economic forecast for the remainder of the 2020s and what is the financial cliff that we're going to see that lasts for 6 years and a Great Depression in the 2030s, and how to plan for these financial eddies. And one thing that there were lots of things that we don't have time for me to read all these notes, but let me tell you, they were calling out the service sector, because the service sector is going to be the area that thrives and survives during hard times. We already saw this during COVID, so we already are aware, but that level of professionalism and communication and setting the bar high for good service, it's going to serve you well, because when you have recession or depression happening, people still need to fix their cars. They still need to fix their HVAC. They still need to fix their plumbing, their electricity. These are all essentials. So they named it. They said, quote, car repair and HVAC repairs will remain vital. So I agree with all of you guys. When we step up the level of professionalism, we show our ideal client base that we deeply care about them, and that we're here to not just be a one-time we'll service you. No, we want to be with you for generations. That is going to really, really help your business grow over the next 5, 10, 20 years.
And a lot of that is putting the customer first. It was mentioned briefly about worried about money. When you put your customers first and you worry about money second, it shows. And they'll come back and spend more money with you. And that's a battle we've fought for years, because so many shop owners haven't put profit into their equation and don't understand the number side of their business. So, you know, if you think about it, I did a very unscientific look at cars in California. And for every repair shop in California, there's about 9,000 cars for every repair shop.
Yep.
You can't fix all those cars. So stop worrying about what everybody else is doing and focus on this customer who walked through your door and knock their socks off, and charge what you need to charge, and stop trying to be the lowest price guy in town, and stop couponing yourself to death and trying to be very careful here.
Stop being a mom and pop.
Right. And become a professional repair shop and get paid what you should get paid. And you'll do all right.
You know, the title of your book, Malin, you know, The Joy of Hiring, the key word there is the joy. So you have two, you know, within a block of each other, high professional shops. You know which one's going to be the busiest? The one with joy.
Yep.
So it's not just, you can't singular out any one character trait or quality of a shop. We get to partner them with supporting character traits and qualities and atmospheres that we want. And I'll tell you what, if you don't have joy, fun, and laughter in your shop, I would go there first, create that joy, fun, and that, because in that realm, when you have that context, as soon as somebody walks in the door, not a word is said, they go, I found my tribe. I found my place. I feel the energy. And as much as a lot of people, you know, give me the facts, nothing but the facts, I believe that everything in this universe is a frequency, has a frequency. In fact, coming from faith-based, God spoke everything. Everything in this universe is created by a sound wave. And which means we're putting out waves without saying a single word. How are we holding the space for joy and professionalism? Are we holding the space for joy in profitability? Yeah, if I'm profitable, I'm going to be a lot more joyful. No, joy is based on a choice, not your condition. But are we joy in everything that we do?
Yeah.
And I think Carm said it earlier. I love what I do. Right?
Yeah.
Does
And
it
it
show?
shows.
It absolutely does. And so when you walk into a repair shop and that guy hates his life and he hates what he does, or she hates what she does.
Yep.
And how many shop owners do you know that say, I want my kids to go into this business? None.
Yeah, that's
Very
becoming
few.
far and few between. You're absolutely right.
And that's transferred to the customers.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to say this from my world. When I get to a show and I'm standing there and the room fills up with people, I get excited. I get to play the game, as I call it. It's no different at the service counter. When a customer walks through the door, I'm playing a game. It's about building a relationship. It's about building trust. It's about letting them know I am not here to take their money. I'm here to solve their problem.
Yeah.
And we have to change the way we think. And we have to get happy about this.
Yeah.
You know?
So listen, I want to do an episode on some of what we talked about. So I'm going to challenge you all to find me a shop owner who got into this business because he couldn't work for anybody but himself. But yet he took that attitude into his business, and he's struggling because he can't build the culture of team and great weather and joy and happiness and support. He can't. But I know you all know someone who did. They finally said, you know what? I got to get out of my own way and I got to do this. And maybe it's not him or her that does it. Maybe they hire maybe a second in command that can be a whole lot better at it. And I would love to get some stories told about those. I want people that are in their own way, stubborn as all get out, to listen to the people that transformed themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be an incredible thing. And finally, I'm going to close. I want to say a final thing. I'll give each of you a last word. This particular past week in my newsletter, I wrote about the veterinary comparison. I don't know if any of you saw that. I was comparing the love of our animal and the veterinary business to our counter. And if we just looked at our client's vehicle, no different than how they look at their dog or their cat.
It's true. How many of us have nicknames for our car? Guilty.
Yeah. I get all that. And so people have been emailing me back and says, man, God, you nail this thing. I got to sit down with my counter staff and first of all, every one of them that owns an animal, you love your animal. How many have you had? You can't wait to get home. How do you take care of this person? What's the vet bill? Did you ever pay a $700 vet bill and it didn't matter? Okay. All that stuff. Oh my God. He choked. Oh, take him to the vet. It's like the car, something happened. I'm not going to take it to the car. I'm not going to take it to service because I'm going to pay handsomely.
Or they think they can fix it themselves.
Well, yeah.
And they can't fix the dog or the cat.
I get, yeah.
I love my Mini Cooper Countryman that's named Pepe Le Blue. And I have dropped, I'm not joking you, I have dropped 10 grand on that car this year alone.
Oh.
Isn't that the average repair order for a Mini?
I love that car, and I have it is babied. So yeah, my cat. Hold on, let's see. Can you see the cat? Oh, hold on, I gotta.
Yeah,
I have a name for the car too, but if I used it, the FCC would close CARM down.
Oh my! Oh. Well, look at give me 2 or 3 minutes to close this thing out. It was great being here at the CAMP Group, Coalition for Automotive Management Professionals. We do this every month, and you can see it on social media here. And thank you for letting me be here. Jennifer fills in. I'll let you have the first word. Then I'll go to Malin, and then Dave. Jennifer from Rockstar Marketing.
Thank you so much. I love hanging out with my peers on this show. And if there's anything that you need to accomplish in 2025 that you haven't yet already accomplished, it's all about your marketing. It's all about getting the word out. So if you need anything, I love to offer free marketing coaching sessions. So just contact me. Jennifer Filzen, 408-833-9868. That's my cell phone. Give me a call. Let's have my team assemble, come up with some ideas for you. If you work with us, great. And if you don't, no big deal. But we love sharing ideas and we love to see you succeed. So thank you for allowing me to stutter, but we can help
thanks,
you with your
Jen. Rock-star-market mktg.com.
Yes.
Okay. Malin, ESI Educational Seminars Institute at esiseminars.com. Malin.
Just go find joy in what you do. I tell people that I haven't worked a day in the last 40 years. I love what I do. It gets me up every morning and it keeps me very busy. I told you, Carm, when I was in the hospital, I gave it a lot of thought. And I went out and did what was right for the people and stopped worrying about income and money. And I got busier. Same thing will happen in your repair shop.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about the money. Just go out and do what's right, not just for your employees, but your customers too. And treat your employees, please, nicely, kindly. They have a tough life also. And as always, Carm, appreciate the opportunity to be on your podcast.
Oh yeah,
And
thanks, man.
thanks to the other coaches for being here.
Yeah, thank you, man. By the way, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all. Happy Hanukkah to everybody out there. Wow. Coach Dave Shadeen.
Yeah, I am so excited about this year, and appreciate Jennifer talking about the future and the hope and of a future. 2025 is the year to come alive and thrive.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say to the listener speaking with a finger pointed back at me is that this is the year of joy. This is the year of abundance. This is the year of opportunity. And opportunity is not about profitability. It is, but it isn't. When you look at your business from a place of what's the opportunity to serve? How do I serve my employees? How do I serve my vendors? How do I serve my customers? How do I serve myself? Make this year to where you come alive and thrive in understanding, identifying what's the opportunity of joy? What's the opportunity of laughter? What's the opportunity of connection? This year will be different when you step outside of your comfort zone and you go do something different you've ever done before. Thank you, Carm. Man, I love these shows. I get done and I get more work done after I do one of these shows because I'm pumped up. I'm excited.
You guys just have to see all the notes that I take when I get together with all the coaches in the industry. You inspire me. So thank you for that. Thank you for letting me hang out with you guys every month. And we're going to do it again in 2025. Dave Shadeen, coach and mentor at CompuTrek Automotive Solutions. That's TREK, TREKsystems.com. Glad to have you here. Thank you again. Peace and love.
Thank you, Carm.
Thank you, Carm.
Thank you, Carm. Thank you, guys.